Alright, so I got a list of things that I wanted to make. Okay, this one's a 10-minute video. We'll do this one. It's a movie video on Shang-Chi. Now I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna go through it and stuff. Okay. And the reason why I'm making this is because I don't think this guy watched the movie. Because even in the video, I'm pretty sure he says Shang-Chi. But it's Chang, like a CH, not a Shan, not a SH. So they say it like 10 times in the movie is Chang-Chi. That's how you say it in Mandarin. I'm pretty sure like it takes place in China. I don't know why would it be speaking some other language. Let's get into it.
I did watch Shang-Chi, if for nothing else, so I could review it for you guys, as I'm still being asked about my thoughts on the MCU's latest projects. So, what did I think of Shang-Chi? Well, first off, I really liked Shang-Chi. In the trailers, he came across very—
Yeah, right there. He says Shang-Chi. It's not Shang-Chi. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he watched it, because he said his name wrong. Because that's how I said it before I watched the movie. That's how I thought you said it. And then I watched the movie and then he was like, oh no, it's not, it's Shang-Chi.
The first thing that I didn't like was Katie. Now, a lot of you had warned me about her since this movie was released, and you were all right. From the second she showed up on screen, I immediately could not stand her. As soon as you see her exaggerated facial expressions, it just screams, I am the comic relief.
Oh my god. Hey, you know I'm not an idiot. Please, get in. I'll go slow.
Oh gee, I wonder if she's lying and if she's really gonna go Yep.
The only thing I didn't like about Katie was kind of her voice. That was kind of it. But I got used to it over time. In the beginning, I didn't like it. But as the movie went on, I got used to it. So her character's fine. She's fine.
About lessons this movie.
I think she's a better side character than most of the side characters in the MCU, honestly. She's the only one who does stuff like that. There's no one else in this movie who would make a facial expression or even smile. I don't even think Shang-Chi smiles. Maybe he does, like once. So the only source of life in the movie you don't like. Yeah, that's a nice joke. I like that joke. I would do that joke. I would say that. I mean, I wouldn't go fast in a car that's not mine, and unless like I'm like used to driving fast. But I like that joke. That joke's obvious. That joke's just something. That's a good joke. That's a predictable joke. That's good. If you hear humming, I'm charging my other headphones right now. Actually, I'm charging it with my PS3. I'm just turning that off and charge it with something else. My PS4 the fan won't turn on for like another half hour. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Hey, you know I'm not an idiot. Please, get in. I'll go slow.
Oh gee, I wonder if she's lying and if she's really gonna go Yep.
That's a predictable joke, but that's a good joke. That's like a dad joke. I'm not old, but maybe I am. I like dad jokes.
I am sure the actress is very talented, so I want to make it clear that I don't blame her. This is just something that the MCU makes their actors do, more specifically their comic reliefs. She is just another Kat Dennings character from Thor: The Dark World.
I disagree. I only saw Thor: The Dark World like once. I only saw Thor 2 once, I'm pretty sure. And Kat Dennings, she wasn't funny, she wasn't entertaining, and she didn't bring anything, lively. Like a facial expression. So I disagree.
That is exactly the daughter my mom wishes came out of her vagina.
Well, now we know how this movie got its PG-13 rating.
That's actually super funny because that woman's Asian. That's so funny, actually. If it was just like a non-Asian, it would still kind of be funny, but it wouldn't be as funny. Okay, what Marvel movie isn't PG-13? Can you name one PG Marvel movie? Now, I don't even think their animated movies are PG. You know why they're rated PG-13? It's not because of her vagina joke. It's because of the action. It's intense action. That's why it's PG-13.
And what makes her character worse is that she doesn't even do anything. This story is all about Shang-Chi and his family, and the movie forcefully has her tag along just because the MCU wanted its comic relief. Aside from that, her only contribution is that she fires a single arrow at the end of the movie. That's it. And anyone could have fired it. She's around countless other far more experienced people than her.
So he says her only contribution is at the end where she shoots the arrow into the dragon's eye. Obviously, she's a side character, and if she wasn't there, and if she didn't do that, then she would literally have no point. And he's like, oh yeah, what about the other people, the more skilled people? You know they're in the middle of a battle, right? You know that the skilled archer that told her like not to die, you know that guy died? He was like, no, she's not ready, she shouldn't fight. But you know he died, right? You know that you know this was a battle royale for them, right? They got third party by the dragons.
And they put Wong in this movie too because he's Asian, I suppose.
Yes. Honestly, if Luke Cage still had a TV show, I would expect to see Falcon and the Luke Cage TV show, and vice versa. I would want that to happen. He says Wong's only here because he's Asian. What about Captain America and Thor? He said in Thor: The Dark World, he mentions that, and in that movie, Captain America has a cameo. Well, he doesn't have a cameo. Loki turns into Captain America, but that's still a Chris Evans Captain America cameo. But he doesn't mention anything about that. Why did he do that? You know, why didn't he just name drop Captain America? He didn't have to turn into him.
And he plays absolutely no role in this film. The tiny bit you saw of him in the trailer is exactly what we see of him in the final movie, with just about 30 more seconds of screen time and an embarrassingly goofy mid-credit scene. They also made it out like he was going to fight Shang-Chi, but that never happened. Speaking of which, when Wong shows up at the end of the film and says, Shang-Chi, you need to come with me, and you too, I was like, why? Why does this movie keep trying to shoehorn her into these missions when she's not needed and has nothing to contribute?
Yes, that's what a cameo is. What's this movie called? Wong? No, it's called Shang-Chi. It's not Doctor Strange with wizards and stuff. Shang-Chi is not a wizard. He's a martial artist. I mean, he has those magic rings or whatever, but he's not a sorcerer. He's not opening portals to different dimensions and traveling through them and stuff. You know, he's just a normal guy, right? He doesn't use magics. You know, that's what a cameo is, right? It's just like one scene. He's not supposed to be in the movie. Yes, because even in the comics, they don't actually have the heroes fight. Like, even in the comics, they'll like throw like a few punches and then the comic ends for you to decide. I think they did that with, who was it? It was Daredevil and someone else. It might have been Luke Cage. And they were fighting. It was somebody. But, it leaves it up to interpretation at the end. But even in other shows, like, even in anime, like, they don't have just two heroes fight each other for no reason. Like, I'll use Natsu and Gray. Like they fight. Well, that's probably not a good example. But like they fight, but they be like tussling, you know, because they're rivals. So you know they gotta test their strength against one another. But they don't actually fight. You know, they don't show the fight. You know, they do the tumbleweed, not the tumbleweed, but like the dust kicking up and like their faces popping up the dust. They don't show them fight because they're not fighting. Is Wong trying to take over? I don't know, New York or whatever, wherever Shang-Chi's at. He's trying to take over his dad's empire or China. Is Shang-Chi trying to take over the wizard world? No. Is Shang-Chi the sorcerer to test his strengths? No. So there's no conflict, they're not rivals. Why would they fight? I mean, why would he only take Shang-Chi? You know, she's right there, he knows her. Like, that's like you out with your friend, and then the guy comes. So you know, they're not friends with Wong, not like that. Him and Shang-Chi, they're not like close, you know. So he's like, yeah, I got a job for you. Oh yeah, bring your sidekick too. Like, come on, Robin, let's go. Robin, where are your pants? Put your pants on. Come on, let's go.
And the humor completely threw me off in this movie, because I did something that I have learnt not to do with MCU films, and that is that you do not get emotionally invested into a scene, because right around the corner, you can bet that Marvel are going to interrupt and ruin the scene with a completely out of place joke. And boy do they do it here. Shang-Chi was telling a story about his past and his upbringing that I was really getting into. It was a genuinely good scene. I really liked it, and then this happened.
Burn the world down. I would have asked him.
Beef or vegetarian? Roll out of the chicken, so I can only offer you beef or vegetarian.
Vegetarian would be great. So...
Oh, we're out of the vegetarian too. Now we only have beef. 2 beefs.
did you go through with it?
No, you can't do that. We had a whole minute of that dumb joke. You can't just continue the serious conversation now. The scene was cut off. The emotion was ruined. You can't go back to the scene now and expect us to get wrapped up in the emotion of it again as if that interruption never happened. Why did you put that joke in here in the first place? The MCU does this all the time and I am sick of it. Interrupting heavy scenes with an out-of-place joke is practically a staple of the MCU now, and it always ruins what is usually a very good scene. And what even is the joke here? Is it supposed to be funny that they interrupted the movie? You can't just go from 100% serious to 100% goofy and then back to 100% serious again. That is just bad storytelling. Now there was one joke that I liked. Shang changing his name from Shang to Sean was funny.
You changed your name from Shang to Sean?
Yeah, I don't...
I wonder how your father found you.
I was 15 years old, alright?
Now that was kind of funny. That really was. And any other movie would know to stop here. But in typical MCU fashion, they try to milk that joke as much as they can, and then it wasn't funny anymore.
What is your name change logic? You going into hiding and your name is Michael, you want to change it to Michael.
That's not what happened.
It's like, hi, my name is Gina, I'm gonna go into hiding, my new name is Gina. Yeah, okay.
Amazing. Even when they do a joke right, they get it wrong. Now something...
Alright, yeah, I agree with you on that one. That was pretty lame, but that's Marvel. You should have been expecting that. What number movie is this? This is like the 30th movie. I mean, I expected that. I don't expect the scenes like that to go out. You know, I expect something to interrupt it. Either a joke or an explosion. The plane's crashing! One of those two. Again, I agree with you. But that's the Marvel formula. You should have expected that. That's like going to McDonald's for a Big Mac. It's like, oh, where's my Mac sauce? It's on there. But then you're like, oh, what are these pickles? Oh, I don't want pickles. Oh, well, that comes on the Big Mac. So you should have expected pickles and onions and lettuce. But, you know, I do agree with you. But you should have expected that. Profit. It's the formula. Okay, so you admit it. Right. Okay, so you admit it. I did watch this video once before. I told you it's in my playlist. And I am subscribed to this guy. I think that's just a writer's flaw. I think whoever wrote that joke, that's just how they are. You know, that's how they talk to people. They thought that would be funny because that's how they speak. So they are not funny. Actually, the person who wrote the joke, it's a funny joke, but they're not funny. I bet they're not actually funny.
A joke right, they get it wrong. Now, something that no one is talking about is the horrendous CGI and green screen. There is so much green...
Again, that's just Marvel. You should expect that. Remember Civil War?
Green screen in this movie, it is unbelievable. Even simple dialogue scenes are using green screens for some reason. And look at these CGI motorbikes in cars, and the mystical animals look like something out of a PS5 game. And sometimes...
Hey man, PS5 looks amazing. Alright?
They look like they are pulled straight out of No Man's Sky on PS4. The CGI in this movie really is so bad, and it amazes me that this film has a $200 million budget, because in actuality, it looks like the budget was less than half of that. This is what I meant when I said
that no one is talking about is the horrendous CGI and green screen. There is so much green screen in this movie, it is unbelievable. Even simple dialogue scenes are using green screens for some reason. And look at these CGI motorbikes and cars, and the mystical animals look like something out of a PS5 game, and sometimes they look like they are pulled straight out of No Man's Sky on PS4. before. The CGI in this movie really is so bad, and it amazes me that this film has a $200 million budget, because in actuality, it looks like the budget was less than half of that. All practical and is shot in a very creative way, and yet this movie cost $100 million to make and Black Widow cost $200 million. You see the difference here? Marvel have a serious budgeting problem. They've had this problem for the last few years, but specifically with Phase 4, and Shang-Chi also suffers from this. I saw Shang-Chi on Disney Plus in IMAX 4K on my 4K projector, and watching it in IMAX just exposed the flaws and fakeness of the CGI even more. It was also at this point that I noticed that the movie in general looks very clean, almost like it has a soft filter over it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that. A $200 million budget. Wasn't it like Spider-Man? Sam Raimi Spider-Man? I don't even know. Hold on, let me look. I want to see how big that budget was, cause that movie looks Spider-Man 2. Let's see Spider-Man 2 budget. Let's see how much it was, cause that movie looks good even to this day. Dang, I should have went to Google. Hold on. 200 million. Okay, they had the same budget. And yeah, they use practical effects in Spider-Man 2. That's why it looks good to this day. And they just use CGI in Shang-Chi. It's not like they have any big actors that they have to pay out. Because if they had like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, you know, if they had like those people in the same movie, then, you know, I understand. You know, like in Civil War. Because, you know, they need to get paid. You know, I understand that. And, you know, CGI is cheaper than buying props and stuff, you know. Takes less time. So it's cheaper. But I don't think they have a reason for this movie. They don't have no big hitters in this movie. Nobody that needs to be paid out. So yeah, I would agree with that. Like the CGI they should have used practical. But the CGI with the animals, he's like, oh, that looks like a PS5 engine. PS5 looks amazing. Okay, PS4 looks amazing. But yeah, those CGI cars in that tunnel, that was disgusting. I hate CGI, honestly. But CGI mystical creatures, I have no problem with, because they're not real. But if they did make it with the animatronic, that would be dope. That would have been dope. There was only like 5 of the creatures, so they definitely could have, honestly. But again, it is cheaper. It's cheaper money-wise and time-wise. No, they don't have a budgeting problem. They have a greed problem. They make money off of stuff that looks like that because people buy that. If you want Marvel to look like DC, you can't watch the movie in theater. If you want them to have either a better CGI or use practicals, stop watching the movie in theater.
And how did the bad guy come to the village and bring a whole army with them? I mean, the good guys had only one car and they had to go through a ton of trouble to get here, but they had Trevor who guided them. But the bad guys didn't have Trevor, and yet somehow they got there with no trouble. Or did I miss something?
Okay, obviously, because he's been there before. He knows it opens only one day out of a year or something. He went there, he took a woman from there, and he had a family from there. Obviously, he knows the way. He went that way before. He just told them where to go, or they followed him. This is what I mean when I say he didn't watch the movie. I only watched this movie once. Actually, no, I watched it twice. I watched it once in theater and once with my mom. So technically, I did watch it twice. But even then, I knew that's how they got there, because he's been there in the intro. That's where he fought Shang-Chi's mom. I mean, they didn't really, like, fight, but, you know, they were, like, dance fighting. Shang-Chi kind of got there with no trouble. I mean, the doors gonna shut on him, but oh well. I'm sure some people didn't make the trip. There's only like 5 or 6 cars there. He has a whole army, remember? He's been alive for centuries. He has more people than 5 Jeeps. I guarantee you. He didn't need to bring all of them because it's just one. It's like a little island. Not like Japan Island, but like a little island. Like Hawaii. Like one of their little islands. Not like the main Hawaii island, but like a little island. Why would you bring your whole fleet to just a small little part? Like, you don't need to do that.
thing. And although I loved the first two hand-to-hand action scenes, the rest of the action, particularly the big final battle, there was no real feeling of tension or danger. It felt very scripted, and I just knew that Shang-Chi was going to win in the end. This has got...
I mean, you can say that about all the Marvel movies. About all superhero movies, really. The hero wins in the end. Obviously, I knew he was going to win.
To be the only MCU film that had absolutely no tension during its final action scene.
And although I loved the first two hand-to-hand action scenes, the rest of the action, particularly the big final battle, there was no real feeling of tension or danger. It felt very scripted, and I just knew that Shang-Chi was going to win in the end. This has got to be the only MCU film that had absolutely no tension during its final action scene. Well, this and Captain Marvel.
I don't think that's true. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, that didn't really have any tension. I didn't really care. That's just one off the top of my head. I think even in the first Ant-Man too, like the ending battle didn't have that much tension. It's just the guy wanted his evil tech, you know. I mean, it was a nice fight. I liked the fight in Ant-Man. But I don't think it had like that much tension. Like I wasn't on the edge of my seat, like in Infinity War or Endgame or the first Iron Man. Or even the Winter Soldier. Or even Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. But you know, those are big hitters. You know, Shang-Chi is not a big hitter. You know, what's that guy? He's not Babe Ruth. You know, he can't just knock it out the ballpark first try. You know? This guy's like, I don't know any non-famous athletes. But this guy's like Eric Carter, you know? He's not gonna knock it out the first try. You gotta keep on going. You gotta get back up, gotta keep on swinging. Alright, yeah, Captain Marvel. I did watch that movie. Oh, the Eternals didn't have a thrilling ending either.
And their attempt at defending the gate was so laughable. Everyone starts fighting the army, but they left the gate completely defenseless, and the main villain very calmly just walks towards it. These are the worst heroes I have ever seen in my life.
He breached the gate!
My guy.
The gate was so laughable.
He's trying to open the gate.
Everyone starts fighting
The army's
army,
right there.
but they left the gate
That's
completely
all the
defenseless,
people.
and the main villain very calmly just
That's
walks
the last-
towards it.
that's
These
the-
are the
what's that
worst
called?
heroes
The
I've
Last
ever seen in
Stand?
my life.
I mean, you saw where the gate was,
And by the
didn't
way,
you?
the whole final act
I don't
of the
think
movie
you wanna go
reminded me
fight
of the
up
last
there
few
unless you got
episodes of
some
Avatar: The
magic
Last
rings.
Airbender Season 1, where
I
Aang,
don't think
Sokka,
you
and Katara
both-
arrive at
I
the
mean,
Water
your,
Tribe,
your
and they enjoy
wooden
the
stick,
culture, mingle
your
with the
bow
locals,
staff.
and get some training,
I don't
and
think
then the
that's really
bad guys
gonna
come
help
in,
you
and they
up
all have to
there.
fight
It's
a
on
big
the mountain.
war and defend some
Yeah, that's
mystical
pretty cool.
Only
You just walk
Avatar
through the
did it
battlefield.
so much
I mean, what he gonna do? Fight them
Overall,
for?
my
Man,
reaction to this
it's been
movie is,
centuries
yeah,
years
whatever.
old.
It's a thing
Of course
that I
he's gonna
saw.
walk
And
through the
aside from a couple of
battlefield.
cool
He'll
hand-to-hand
take care
action
of 'em.
scenes,
I'm gonna do
I'm
the
never
job,
gonna watch
you know?
this movie
Oh,
again.
these
This
are the
film
worst
needed to
heroes you've
stay
ever
small
seen in your
scale as a
life.
martial
Oh,
arts
okay.
film. But
It's
by
not like
the
the heroes
end,
are
they
fighting
made
an
it a
army or
typical
anything
Marvel
like that,
movie
you
that
know?
ticks all the checkboxes
It is
of a
on the
generic
mountain.
MCU
Why would they all be
flick.
up there?
And it just
What
cheapened
the
the whole
heck?
film for me and made it feel very derivative of things we have seen done better before. Despite its flaws, I was more or less with this movie in its first 45 minutes. Right after they get captured, however, the movie completely dropped off for me, and I just wasn't with it anymore. And I was just waiting for it to be over. And the final battle really left. And by the way, the whole final act of the movie reminded me of the last few episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 1, where Aang, Sokka, and Katara arrive at the Water Tribe, and they enjoy the culture, mingle with the locals, and get some training, and then the bad guys come in, and they all have to fight a big war and defend some mystical thing. Only Avatar did it so much.
Avatar is a TV show that had at least like 8 hours. It's 20 episodes in the first season of Avatar, half an hour each. Let's see. 20 hours, that's 10 hours of content. Versus this 2-hour movie. Yeah, you can't really compare apples and oranges here.
Overall, my reaction to this movie is, yeah, whatever, it's a thing that I saw. And aside from a couple of cool hand-to-hand action scenes, I'm never gonna watch this movie again.
I would definitely watch this movie again.
This film needed to stay small scale as a martial arts film.
This movie was small scale on a martial arts scale. They fight a freaking dragon at the end. Isn't there a martial art movie with the word dragon in it? What's that called? Is it Wrath of the Dragon? Of the Bruce Lee movie? What's it called? Somebody knows it. I'm gonna look it up. What's that Bruce Lee movie called with the dragon? I thought it was a different title. Into the Dragon. That's what it was. The Way of the Dragon. There we go. Those are the ones I was looking for.
But by the end, they made it a typical Marvel movie that ticks all the checkboxes of a generic MCU flick. And it just cheapened the whole film for me and made it feel very derivative of things we have seen done better before.
I disagree. They do the family story really well. I don't even think they try to do it. Oh no, the Guardians did a family story too. But that was more ragtag, friends coming together as family. This is actually family. They didn't have they had the ego story, but that wasn't whatever, dude, But that wasn't grounded. That was in space. That wasn't grounded. That was in space, and he was gonna take over planets and stuff. So that wasn't grounded. This movie was grounded with the grounded family. That Guardians 2 was a family movie in space. Shang-Chi is a family movie on Earth.
I was more or less.
This one I hear, this is actually apples and apples. This is red apples and green apples. Which would you prefer?
Despite its flaws, I was more or less with this movie in its first 45 minutes. Right after they get captured, however, the movie completely dropped off for me and I just wasn't with it anymore. And I was just waiting for it to be over. And the final battle really left me feeling absolutely nothing when the film was over. So yeah, aside from a couple of cool action scenes, this movie didn't really do anything for me, and it gets a below average 4 out of 10.
I gave this movie like a 7 out of 10. I think this movie is above average. There are definitely, like, the CGI that definitely takes away. But, I definitely give it, like, a 7. Or at least an 8. Or, at least a 7, You can bump it up to, like, an 8. I wouldn't go to 9 territory, not at all. But, I would have to get into it in, like, my own Shang-Chi video. But, yeah, I gave it, like, a 7, 8 at max. So either like I said, either he didn't watch the video or, he didn't really understand it.
It just ended up feeling like a generic MCU movie, even though it had the potential to be something new and different for both the comic book genre and the MCU.
The comic book genre? I don't think Marvel makes these movies to sell comics. I don't think they care about the comic book genre. And this movie is new and different. There is no other Marvel movie like this, really. Like I said, this is a family movie on Earth. There is no other Marvel movie like this. Oh, what, Black Widow? No. Come on. That was not a family movie. That was a movie of a bunch of spies. That movie tried to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I said, this was a family movie. This wasn't a bunch of friends making the family. This was the family. I don't think this is a generic MCU movie. I think this is one of their better movies. I wouldn't say top tier like Winter Soldier, Infinity War, like first Iron Man, but this is definitely like a B tier movie. And if you want to put Infinity War and stuff in the S tier, I'll put Shang-Chi in A tier. I'll say it's like right below them. Because I say like in the next movie, it definitely can be something good. For sure. Like it could be that next tier. Like it could be a 9 or 10. Like Infinity War, not Endgame, but I said Iron Man and Winter Soldier. I don't want to compare it to Endgame because that took 10 years to make. That's why I didn't put it in the top tier because that's Endgame. That's above the top tier. That's Endgame. That's its own tier. Actually, you know what? Endgame. No. Like I said, that's its own tier. It's above S tier. That's above A tier. It's above them all. Okay, that's Endgame. But definitely Shang-Chi 2 could definitely become like a S tier, A tier movie. It could definitely be up there with Winter Soldier. Well, it depends on the stories that Shang-Chi has to tell. I don't know what they would do for a second one. Would they do a family story again? I don't know. Would I watch a family story again? Not unless it's like a romance story with Shang-Chi and Kitty or Caddy, whatever her name is. So that's like they were like gonna get in a relationship. Not like a rom-com. No, not like a rom-com. But like a love interest. Like seriously. I think that would boost it up for sure. I don't know what the villain conflict would be. Like I said, that depends on the stories Shang-Chi has to tell. Like I said, I'm subscribed to this guy. I like this video. I'm subscribed. I watch his videos often. When he uploads, I watch him practically all the time. I'm a fan. I just disagree with this video, and you know why. Now, this is like a this is a 40-minute long, oh my goodness, recording. I'm not about to do no conclusion. I'm not about to restate what I said. I'm just going off the top of my head. I was watching it as it was playing for like the second time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and end it. You know why. You were listening to the video, you were watching the video. You know why.